We are now in aspect 3 of Desjardins chapter 9, discussion of advertisement. We're going to return to discussion of manipulation. Does advertisement destroy autonomy? And we're going to give a preliminary for our definition of autonomy in terms of first order and second order desires. So, the thought with which we are starting is this one. Advertisement does not control behaviors, rather it controls desires. And so we should be focusing on desires as the place of our analysis of advertisement. But what does it mean to say that advertisements manipulate consumers? We have discussed how they aim to do it by appealing to fears, anxieties, insecurities, desires, passions, etc. But that does not mean that they succeed in manipulating the behavior of consumers, right? So the claim is that it may succeed at the level of manipulating desires of consumers. Desjardins simply says that advertisement does not control behaviors because so many new products fail, meaning that consumers were not successfully manipulated into buying many of them. The argument then is that advertisements manipulate consumer desires rather than behaviors. But how do we make sense of that? We can make a distinction between first order desires and second order desires. First order desire is for whatever object it is that we happen to desire. Second order desire is not for an object, but for the first order desire. Here we ask and answer whether we actually desire to have the desires that we have, whether they make sense to us or whether we identify with them. So my first order desire is to drink this spindrift. That's my first order desire. But my second order desire is, well, do I really want to drink this spindrift? Does it make sense? Right. So again, we can make a distinction between first order desires and second order desires. First order desire is for whatever object that we happen to desire. Second order desire is for the first order desire. Here we ask and answer whether we actually desire to have the desires that we have, whether they make sense to us or whether we identify with them. For example, my first order desire may be to smoke, but my second order desire would be my approval or disapproval of that desire to smoke. Desire would be autonomous, and up to now we have been setting it up so that we can speak of autonomy or lack thereof with regard to desires rather than, say, behaviors. So desire is autonomous if we identify with that desire, if we recognize ourselves in it and wish to have it. Here, first order and second order desires are aligned. On the other hand, desire is not autonomous if we realize that we do not wish to have a desire that we have, if we do not identify with it, if second order and first order desires are not aligned. An enlightened addict who realizes that they have an addiction and wish that they did not have it has a non-autonomous desire. So in other words, we may have a smoker who has a first order desire to smoke, second order desire that he does not desire his desire to smoke, but nevertheless he smokes. Right? Nevertheless he smokes. And so in this case, we would say that this person does not have autonomy. Their first order and second order desires are not aligned.